Hello dear students, welcome to my channel Bhavani Commerce Academy. Today's class is very important short problems on regression analysis. In the last video we discussed long problems in the regression analysis, that is most important question models repeated in the final examination. Check out that video. If you practice same model questions like last video, you'll get 12 marks in the final examination 100%. Let's start today's class. Unit 1 regression analysis. Important short problems. Only here I am discussing short problems. So here I have given important short problems most repeated in the final examination. So here given first question is, given the two regression coefficients byx is equals to 0.4 and bxy is equals to 0.9. Find the value of correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient is nothing but r. Here we need to find out the R value. How to find out? You need formula. So, here we have coefficient of correlation formula R. R is equals to root of bxy into byx. If you know the bxy value and byx value, that is multiplied and take the root, we'll get R value. So, this is the formula of coefficient of correlation. So write down here formula of correlation coefficient, that is R. R is equals to root of bxy into byx. Okay. So this is the formula. Here you required bxy and byx values. So bxy is equals to 0.9 into byx is equals to 0.4. Take the root. So 0.9 into 0.4. 0.36. Root 0.6. So what is the 0.6? R is equals to 0.6. This is the answer. Very easy. If you know the formula, it's very easy. And second question, if x is equals to 0.85y and y is equal to 0.89x, find the coefficient of correlation. Here also we need to find out the coefficient of correlation. So coefficient of correlation is nothing but R. R is equals to root of bxy into byx. But in this question, there is no bxy and there is no byx. Yes. So what is bxy value? What is byx value? You need to identify. So just write down given details. X is equals to 0.85y. Y is equals to 0.89x. Okay. So here what is bxy? What is byx? Let's see. Here x is equal to 0.85y. 0.85y means this value is bx. Y is equals to 0.89x. Here given x means this is by. So this is bx and this is by. bxy, byx. So the value of bxy is equals to 0.85 and the value of byx is equals to 0.89. So these values you need to apply in this formula. R is equals to root of bxy. What is bxy here? 0.85 into byx 0.89. Root of 0.85 into 0.89. What is the value? 0.7565. Take the root. Then you will get 0.869. And next question is, from the following data, calculate coefficient of correlation is nothing but R. Here we need to find out the R value. Second, standard deviation of Y. So standard deviation of Y means this one. Okay. So here we need to find out R value. Here we need to find out standard deviation of Y value. And given details are X is equals to 0.854Y and y is equals to 0.89x and standard deviation x is equals to 3. These three values are given. So given values just write down first. Okay. So after that, first question is R we need to find out, that is coefficient of correlation. What is the formula of R? R is equals to root of bxy into byx. So what is bx value? What is by value? Already we know in the second question. Bxy means here given y means this is bx. So bxy is equals to 0.854. And here given x means this is byx value. Byx is equals to 0.89. These two values apply in the formula, you will get answer. Root of 0.854 into 0.89. Okay, so root of 0.854 into 0.89. So what is the value? 0.760. Okay, take root, then you will get 0.872. so what is this? R. Okay, R is equals to 0.872, and this is the first one. Okay, and here asking standard deviation y also. Here we need to find out the standard deviation of y. So how to calculate this? So this is the question. So how to calculate? Let's see. So for that, we have to check this x on y and y on x formulas. In the x on y formula, R into standard deviation of x divided by standard deviation of y. This is also we can write by using summation of xy divided by summation of y square. And this is also we can say bxy. So here bxy is equals to R into standard deviation of x divided by standard deviation of y. Okay. Then y on x. Y on x, in the y on x formula, R into standard deviation of y divided by standard deviation of x. We can write byx also. So byx is equals to R into standard deviation of y divided by standard deviation of x. So byx is equals to R into standard deviation of y divided by standard deviation of x. So these are the formulas of bxy and byx. Depends on given details, we can change the formulas. That means, so not only R into standard deviation of x divided by standard deviation of y, we can write or summation of xy divided by summation of y square also. Summation of xy divided by summation of y square. In the same way, for byx is equals to R into standard deviation of y divided by standard deviation of x. We can write summation of xy divided by summation of x square. So depends on given details, we can apply this formula or this formula for the calculation of bxy, and for byx we can use this formula or this formula. So here we already calculated R value and we need to find out standard deviation of y. Standard deviation of y is equals to what? So for this standard deviation of y, we require bxy formula or byx formula, because in that formula only this is available. So that I am using here bxy formula. Bxy is equals to R into standard deviation of x divided by standard deviation of y. So in this formula, already available details are bxy is equals to 0.854 is equals to R. First one answer. What is the R? 0.872 into standard deviation of x given in the problem itself, that is 3, divided by, here missing value is standard deviation of y, we need to find out. Okay. Divide becomes into 0.854 into standard deviation of y is equals to 0.872 into 3. 0.854 into standard deviation of y is equals to 0.872 into 3. What is the value here? 2.616. Into becomes divide by. So standard deviation of y is equals to 2.616 divided by 0.854 divided by 0.854. 3.063. What is this? 3.063 standard deviation of y. So this is the second answer in the third question. Okay. So these are the important questions in the regression analysis. These questions only repeated in the final examination. Along with this, important theory questions also we need to learn. Important theory questions regarding the business statistics too. I have already uploaded in the shorts. If you want, check out that. Thank you.